Should Oba Femi beat Brock Lesnar, or is it too much too soon? Are you in the camp that Oba needs to win, that he's red hot, pull the trigger, don't have much matches left in Brock Lesnar, so I don't care if he needs to lose to Gunther, let's give a win for Oba as well? Or do you fall in the camp of, you know what? I think we should hold off. He's young. He has plenty of time. Because, I mean, just look what it did for Braun Breaker. Aren't you way more interested in Braun Breaker now that he's lost every main event program that he's been a part of? Like, he's just so captivating, right? I mean, that's how some people want it for Oba. They think that if he loses here, that it'll be a good thing. Where do you land in this discussion? I know where I do. I think Oba needs to win, but let's go over some hot takes and see what y'all have to say. Jusantino says, I'm telling you right now, a big part of WrestleMania was the Undertaker's undefeated streak. I absolutely agree. Sometimes I was more invested in the undefeated streak than I was in the championship matches. Oba Femi is more than enough to beat the guy that has an undefeated streak at WrestleMania. Holy cow, you're right. We have a huge opportunity here. The dude's only 27 too. He could legit, we play our cards right, he could be the next guy with the streak. Jusan, I am stealing this. Your hot take is now part of a part of my belief system. We gotta do this. I loved that Undertaker undefeated streak. I looked forward. I cannot explain to you how much I looked forward to the Undertaker undefeated streak, and then when it was gone, it did. WrestleMania did lose something. We have an opportunity to restart it. Forget everything. Forget all of the other pros and cons of why Oba should win, why he should lose. Right now, we need to restart the undefeated streak. And to restart it off the back of Brock Lesnar, that would be huge. That would be freaking huge. Oh my gosh, I'm like all for this right now. I know the undefeated streak kind of happened by accident the first couple of years, but if we're intentional about this, I mean, heck, that's some long-term booking. I mean, I was in the camp of let's let Oba win because he's just red freaking hot right now, and let's throw the audience a bone. I mean, we're all disillusioned by the whole Pat McAfee stuff, so give us a win with Oba Femi, but just the fact, like, the undefeated streak, that is brilliant, genius. If we're intentional about this undefeated streak, we could have 20 years of story right here. Do it. And then Oba doesn't even need to wrestle for championships at WrestleMania because he's defending his undefeated streak. Brilliant. But don't get me wrong, I still want Oba Femi to win titles, just like I want you to win a title, this title. All you gotta do is comment below and subscribe to the channel, and you can win. This is part of the 20,000 subscriber giveaway, but it's also part of the 30,000 subscriber giveaway on my quest to quit my day job. Subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and you can win this, not a toy, but a replica belt. All right, let's look at some more hot takes. Alfonso Passion says, please let Oba talk more. Like, dang, what a good promo. And seriously, how can you not let him win after all of these weeks? He's the most over. Honestly, I'm a little afraid that he's not going to win because of these last few weeks. Never once has Brock actually got the upper hand on Oba Femi. At most, they tied one time. And it's like, I'm very, very scared that they're going to think just being in the ring with Brock is the rub, that just the power bomb and the foot on him was rub enough. I don't think it was. I mean, that was a great start, but like, gosh, I just wish they would just finally pull the trigger. I don't want us to be like, he's 27, he's got all the years ahead of him. Oh my gosh. Is it the end of the world if Brock Lesnar loses twice in his final year? Why have we built Brock Lesnar to be this unstoppable monster just so only one person, Gunther, can get the rub at SummerSlam? I don't understand that. It's like maybe two people could get the rub out of 20 years of domination, and it's like it won't hurt Brock at all to lose to Oba Femi. It just won't, people. And I'm so scared. But you're right, he did cut a good promo as well. If you let him speak, he can speak. This dude is not Goldberg. He can actually wrestle too. They've just been letting him do squash matches, but I've seen it. The guy can wrestle, the guy can speak, and he has the aura. Like, let him go. Just let him go. Like, I wish they would treat him more like Brock Lesnar of 2002 and not Brock Lesnar of 2020. DS Wise Mark says, Chop, I don't think Oba winning benefits Oba because you got to understand Triple H is the booker now. What happened to Gunther's nuclear heat? Same thing will happen to Oba Femi. Well, I'm definitely okay with people having a difference of opinions, and I've actually have video on here already where I gave 5 reasons why Oba should win and 5 why Brock Lesnar should win. There's definitely an argument for Brock to win. That said, based on your argument, like, I mean, so what? We let Oba lose? That's definitely not going to benefit him. And on top of that, just because Triple H has made the mistake on Gunther, I don't feel that that gives us the reason to make the same mistake with Oba Femi. In fact, we need to learn from it. We need to learn from the mistake of Braun Breaker, not pushing him, getting him right to that moment and then stopping. And then we got to learn from the mistake of Gunther. Once you give him that big moment, keep that momentum going. They need to have a plan for Oba Femi after WrestleMania. But again, you're more than welcome to your opinion. We're actually allowed to have different opinions on this channel and still enjoy wrestling together. Mr. Pete says, Oba and Brock, Liv and Steph are the only good things from Raw side that gives me the WrestleMania feel. You know what sucks is Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor should also be giving you that feel, but they've given us no time devoted to this. And this was a very long-running storyline, and they've totally just said, whatever. I mean, the Demon's even returning. They announced it ahead of time, and they haven't given us anything. Just, TTJC says, Chop, I hate you, because you're bald, and I have hair. That makes my mornings really difficult. Or maybe I'm just jealous. How did Hunter ruin Roman versus Punk? How? Soul Collector says that final segment was garbage. They both basically acknowledged each other. Effing stupid. It's not horrible to acknowledge each other because on one hand, if you put over your opponent and then you beat that opponent, then you're putting yourself over even more because you beat someone special. However, I think they lost the point here because this was weird. This was a weird go-home angle for such a hot feud. Charles Yancey says, I'm disappointed they let Roman cut that trash promo. I love AEW Wrestling says, Raw was a big waste of time before WrestleMania. You want to know something? Actually, a lot of YouTubers out there actually really enjoyed this Raw as a go-home show. I was actually kind of surprised. I'm in the minority here that I'm like, I didn't really enjoy this as a go-home show. If this was just a random Raw, maybe, but like go-home show to WrestleMania? I thought very lacking of luster. Yellow Balloon says, I thought the ending was great because we finally got back to an actual story based on the truth as all great stories are, rather than a back and forth where characters are plucking low-hanging fruit from both the babyfaces and heel tree for cheap pops and TikTok edits. And you know what? I heard a lot of people also say that they thought this was really good. I, on the other hand, did not think it was really good. Yellow Balloon, you are more than welcome to your opinion, and I want you to be heard. And thank you. Thank you for going against the grain because this is not an echo chamber. But at the end of the day, to me, like, I'm tired of this respect era of wrestling. I liked it better when Roman was saying, I hate you. Maybe if that was their first promo, it would have been fine, but it was their last promo. This promo, from all of the buildup to get to this, where they're just kind of very low energy, saying, I'm jealous of you, to me, put that in the beginning. Put that in the beginning if you gotta do it, and then let it build up to a climax to where we must see them tear each other apart. But now I know that they respect each other. And it's like, you could argue that what happened last night was a very like Batman Joker type of thing, where on some level they might need each other. I don't see that with Roman and Punk. Maybe Roman and Seth, but not Roman and Punk. It's just they were were building and building and building, and there was so much freaking rage, right? Why can't we just have rage and hate in our product? Why does it gotta be, I respect you? And that's what it was. Make no mistakes about it. They might not have said, I respect you, but their promo was literally, I am jealous of all the things you have, which is basically, I respect you in an emo kind of way. But honestly, I think that this tonight's promo was kind of fallout from the whole Pat McAfee stuff. I think the Pat McAfee feud has bled over and actually ruined this go home promo. Now, don't get me wrong. I am still excited about this matchup. Just because this final go-home segment to me sucked doesn't mean that I'm like just going to forget about everything else that happened. You can have one bad segment and still have a banger feud. It just sucks that it happened to be the last segment before WrestleMania. But I'm going to say this. Because Pat McAfee owned CM Punk so hard, and the fact that Punk didn't respond at all tells me Punk had nothing. Punk had nothing to say. Therefore, Punk had to do a complete left turn. Because if you look at how we've been leading up to this, Punk has definitely been more on the heel side of things. Now, Roman's always been a heel. Like, don't get me wrong. Just because the fans cheer him doesn't mean he's not a heel to me. But like, Punk was definitely going into that heel side of himself. And it's like when Pat McAfee slammed him with all those things, it's like, I kind of felt like CM Punk has kind of given up. It felt last night that he was just like, oh man, all of that tiredness, all of that back-breaking work to get where he was, it all caught up to him. And he had to take a long look in the mirror and see how much of his soul he sold in order to get to this point. And he looked like a defeated man to me, honestly, when he walked up to Roman Reigns. And I really think it's because he knows that Pat McAfee on some levels is right, or at the very least, he had nothing to say that could counter what he had to say, so he just ignored it. And he went this route, so now it's like, oh, he's jealous. We're not talking about the Pat McAfee stuff because he couldn't. So he changed the subject, and he might be like, oh yeah, well, he was just changing the subject because he didn't want to give it any more credence. He didn't want to give it any attention. Well, then he wouldn't have done it last week. The fact that he addressed it last week and not this week, to me, that drastically changed what this promo would have been, could have been, and affected it. So Pat McAfee, like, not good for the main event scene on Raw or SmackDown, in my opinion. I'm glad if you enjoyed it. It seemed like a lot of people enjoyed it, and that's fine. Good for you. But I liked it more when Roman was saying, I hate you, because, I'm jealous of you. All right, cool. Like, this is wrestling. Good guys, bad guys. Like, they're allowed to tell lies about each other because it's all work, baby. Jimbo Slice says, Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vakir know how to make a pull-apart brawl feel legit. That's how it's done. Yeah, like, I think it's more like Liv. Liv is a complete nut job in all of the good ways. Like, she was screaming, she dropped an F-bomb, it looked real, it looked legit, I loved it. That was how you do a pull-apart brawl. Way better than the Randy Cody pull-apart brawl from a couple of weeks ago, but too many pull-apart brawls at the same time. I Love AEW Wrestling says, I think this year's WrestleMania will be one of the most boring events in a long time because almost none of the storylines make any sense anymore. So I think this will be a forgettable WrestleMania, but I don't think it'll be a boring WrestleMania. I think watching it live, not knowing the outcomes, I think the matches look pretty good with the exception of Jade Cargill and Rhea Ripley, but there's no stories to really get me to just always remember. Now Brock Oba, there's a chance. If Oba wins, this will probably be a core memory for wrestling. Otherwise, if Oba loses, it'll be kind of a throwaway comment where I just use this as a bad example in the future. But for the most part, yeah, I just don't see this WrestleMania being something memorable, but not bad in the moment. It's going to be kind of like the Evolution 2 pay-per-view of last year. That was the best pay-per-view last year by far. but the builds suck. And now if you ask me anything about it, all I would remember is that Naomi cashed in for the title. Ryan P7258, the ending was very Disney Channel. After years of hatred, they realized through self-reflection that they're both jealous of each other, and hey, maybe they're not that much different after all. They become besties. The end. Holy cow. Holy cow. This is a beautiful comment. The Oba Femi Undertaker streak and this are two great comments. I love this. You are absolutely right. Very Disney Channel. Oh my gosh. Are we besties? Did I just make a new best friend? You are so right. This is beautiful. I'm going to read this comment again because, I've got nothing else to say. This sums it up. This might be comment of the day, people. The ending was very Disney Channel. After years of hatred, they realized through self-reflection that they're both jealous of each other. And hey, maybe they're not that different after all. They become besties. The end. Disney! Teddy Boy Ward says, giving a quick shout out to the Americanos down in AAA. It should at least have taken place on the pre-Mania SmackDown. So the Grande Americano storyline is red hot in AAA, and they're doing a bang-up job. I wish that program was on the main proper WWE programming. Just Nandu says, I feel this feud is truly exposing Roman Reigns. CM Punk has been throwing digs at Roman's family, personally doing things to get into Roman's head, but Roman comes back with just, you're old, or I'm a draw, you're not. It's like, yeah, it's like, what's worse is that Pat McAfee is saying the things that Roman should be cutting into him about. It's like there's certain subjects that we gotta be tight-lipped on, right? But Pat McAfee, the punter, gets to say it. That doesn't sit right with me. Shazam says, it seems like they're pivoting away from Punk's being a heel because of last week, which is a mistake in my opinion. Yeah, I think it's a mistake too. I think Punk was definitely the most interesting he's been up until last night. I really liked that Punk that would just pick and pick and pick, but this Punk is, no, I respect you. I looked in a mirror. I'm a Disney Channel character now. FMJ says, I almost forgot that Julia not only exists in WWE universe, but she's champion. Yeah. It looks like Jelly Roll McAfee get time, but not the champion Julia. Yeah, it really sucks. Remember that Evolution 2 pay-per-view that I talked about earlier? Julia wasn't on that either, and she was champion then too. The Comic Genius says this is the worst WrestleMania since 31-34 in the build. And, there were some really bad builds back in the day. I remember sometimes I'd be like, why is this match happening? Why is Jimmy Snuka facing The Undertaker? Why is Rowdy Piper facing Bad News Brown? Why is Tatanka versus Shawn Michaels? They just threw matches together. I remember Ahmed Johnson and the Road Warriors. Were they facing the Nation of Domination when it was Crush and Savio Vega? I think maybe. I can't even remember at this point. There was just some really weird combos. I remember one time there was a tag team title match that on the pre-show, the last two winners of a battle royal, the final two participants, would be a tag team, and then they would go and face the tag team champions at WrestleMania. So it's we've had some pretty bad builds before. I'll just tell you that. Money on Repeat says, Oba gave me chills. My wife is now a believer, and my daughter says he's scary. Great job, Oba. Yeah, you know what? Great job, Oba. Yes, that's and he should be scary. And you want to know something? I thought about this at one point. What if Paul Heyman turns on Brock Lesnar? And he sides with Oba Femi, and Oba Femi becomes the new beast incarnate. Not gonna happen. Flounder says, I'm pulling for Rusev to win the IC title. This guy loves to wrestle. I don't care if I'm the only one rooting for him. He deserves it. I would root for him too. I would love for Rusev to win. I've just given up hope. Wrestling Cash says, Liv should perform her song at WrestleMania. LOL. I would love that, actually. I would love that. You know, have Liv Morgan come down with a headset just singing her own song. Kind of like R-Truth does it, but just way more obnoxious. Like, oh, that would be amazing. She enters the ring, a bunch of backup dancers. She does a little number, and then, come on, let's go, let's get it on. Yes, amazing, love it. That's the kind of self-absorption that a heel should have. And yes, please do that. Please do that. All right, boys. All right, girls. Those are your hot takes for Monday Night Raw. See ya. Bye.